Mastermind sessions by the Escano brothers, the #1 content creator duo for the world's leading millennial influencers and brands, with work featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Inc. magazine. This is the meeting for the purpose-driven, making moves in entrepreneurship, creating lifestyle, and shaping culture. Come through and vibe.
So part 2 of the Hershey Hilado interview. This one is called Message to Millennials. What were your thoughts, Mark?
So over time, getting to know Hershey on a personal level and the way she conducts her business and sharing her value to her audience she's one of the realest entrepreneurs that we've gotten to know, and she really tells it like it is. And it's a really refreshing standpoint, which is the reason why she's one of the most influential women in business at this point, especially as a millennial. So the messages that she shares in this episode are definitely worth reflecting upon and executing in your own life.
That's awesome. And what can we expect in this episode?
First up, what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, how to consume the right content that will be beneficial for your career so you're able to engage, educate, or inspire your audience. The straight up truth of entrepreneurship, the hardship that nobody even talks about, and everything a millennial seeking to take the entrepreneurship route needs to know.
Let's get into it.
And also, it's not just because of situations, right? I think that it hugely impacted me, in terms of reading books, listening to podcasts, and just really spending more time with myself and in my learnings and studying more than I spent time in watching TV and stuff. I don't watch TV for 7 years now. I don't even own one. Right. I don't own TV. If you go here in my house, even in my apartment in Sydney, I don't own a TV. I don't fucking need it.
Yeah. It's so much more liberating, eh?
Your input will always determine your output. So if what goes in your eyes and your ears, that's what comes out in your mouth. So if you consume information that is just negative and is worth nothing, meaningless, then you speak it out. So, but if you consume information and you read books and listen to podcasts and stuff, then that's the way you would speak as well. That's why most people say I can't believe you're only 25. I had a meeting with this woman, and she's a multi-millionaire in the Philippines in real estate. This is the kind of conversation that I have with 50-year-old, other businessmen, and I can't believe you're only literally more than half my age.
Right. That's
because I swam and I really went deep into the study of myself, because a lot of people spend so much time idolizing and studying other people, especially younger generations nowadays. They spend so much time idolizing fucking Kim Kardashian's ass and Selena Gomez, and they spend no time learning about themselves. Learn about you, man. Why would you, don't wish, people nowadays want the results of the years that other people's work so hard for. I want your life. I want to be like you when I grow up. You can be yourself. Yeah, my success, my journey is never going to be the same for you, because I've grown up differently. My experiences are different. My habits are different. So instead of spending time trying to duplicate other people's success, spend time in creating your own.
It's basically talking to your old self, right? Because you're the first person, in your life to be able to make that change. Now people around you are now being inspired to make that change. So what do you tell these young millennials who watch Kim K every day, who are following all these people on Instagram, aspiring to be like them, buying what they buy and doing whatever they do, but they're not paying, the attention to themselves? I watched your video in terms of, your best advice for millennials, and you're either one of two people, right? You're either that person who's, inspired to make that positive impact in the world, or you're that other person who feels like they're entitled to everything.
The government doesn't owe you a living. You owe the world something. So whatever ideas, potential, and talent you've got inside you, you've got to let it out.
I've called myself out being like that kind of person who's entitled to so many different things. I've met a lot of people who feel like they're entitled, but it's not until I hear people like you who've really gone through the trenches and really earned what you have today, and going even that bit further and realizing that it's not even about that anymore. It's about what can you do to serve. What do you tell these young millennials who think follow this person, do whatever they're doing, and how do they pay more attention to themselves?
like there's a lot of bullying and lack of self-confidence to a lot of young generations nowadays, and that is because at home that's not being really taught by the parents, you know, that's not being taught in school as well. I think like my advice is that we live in the greatest era of all time, okay? Use that in creating the better version of yourself, which is instead of just spending time on social media, learn something, master a skill. Do you know what I mean? Like the best example for me is I'm a high school dropout. I didn't even finish high school, okay? And what I did, I bought a $50 course in Udemy and then studied HTML. I did that within 48 hours and I was able to build my own website, okay? I sent my sibling to school to study computer science and it take a whole freaking semester for them just to study HTML. Now, my encouragement for young millennials would be, don't wait for people to teach you something. You have the information on key, like in your fucking face. Use it. Do you know what I mean? Don't just rely on people to teach you how to do business if they haven't even done business all their life.
I think Hershey makes a huge point here, like really relating it to the opportunity we have right now to learn. Education is available to almost everyone, to the point where all you really need is an internet connection. You can learn so much online, even through YouTube, tutorials, and develop a skill that you can master to serve someone and make a living from. Versus traditional education, where we're potentially learning from people who do not actually represent what they're teaching. So there's that real friction that we're experiencing right now.
I agree, man. I think it definitely shows how flawed the education system is, having to do tests to memorize, what you've learned. And most of what you're learning is readily available online. And you can learn something so fast. Everything's at your phone. The education system is becoming irrelevant. And it's a dying industry, and it's in need of something that's more practical, especially in our modern era right now.
That's like my principles is that listen to people that is walking the path. Listen to people that are successful, not just on the money wise, but people that has a relational wealth, that I call it. People that has real connections, real relationships with people. People that brings the best out of you. Hang around with friends that like you. Don't try to fit in. Fucking stand out, man. That's for me. Because nowadays, when you see in school, right, everyone we just want to fit in a certain kind of group. We're not born to fit in. Okay, we're born to stand out. So don't worry about what other people think of you. And I think that as much as there is a lot of bad stuff about becoming a millennial, the entitlements and stuff like that, I think there's also a lot of good stuff because there's more entrepreneurs nowadays, and I think people think for themselves now. That's why TV advertisement doesn't really work anymore. It's because nowadays millennials have the say, millennials can respond to advertisement, millennials have the voice. And I think out of any other generations, millennials are the smartest and really outspoken. They say what they think. So my encouragement would be that get some mentorship. Look up people that can elevate you, and can make you grow. So that would be my advice for myself when I was young. And the same goes with today's millennials.
For sure, I appreciate that. And I think it's so interesting because I'm a uni dropout. Obviously you're a bit different being a high school dropout, but it's the same kind of mentality that I thought originally that you had to finish off a course. And if you didn't, well, then you're going to be lost or you're not going to succeed. You're just going to fail, But it's so interesting that you see, not saying school is a bad thing, but if you want to do something completely different, sometimes entrepreneurship is the way. And we're going through this era right now where this is the biggest opportunity. Look at social media. The playing field is now even. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your race is, what you eat, what color you are, nothing. There's opportunity open to everyone, and you don't need, this traditional kind of schooling. Like you said, you can go on Udemy, buy a course for $40-50. You can do a tutorial on YouTube. You can get someone's course for $197, and this is the raw kind of content that's being given from someone's experience who's done it, as opposed to someone else who's just teaching it because it's part of their curriculum and they don't exactly, represent that. So I really love what you're saying because I think it's really going to open up people's minds to the possibilities out there. I'm not saying drop out of high school, that's not what we're saying. Don't just drop out of university, don't just drop out of your 9 to 5, but really look at who are the people who live the lifestyle that you want, and really look at who are they surrounding themselves with, and how can you try and emulate that too. In terms of wanting to get into entrepreneurship, and you did it with the Entourage, with Jack DeLossa, which is really cool. I too went to his unconvention, which is really amazing. What are the main business lessons that have really shaped your life ever since getting into this journey? And how have you started to really apply that into your life today?
Number one lesson that for business for me is this thing that Jack DeLossa said. He said that your business will never outgrow its founder. That short statement there is so, like, it has been that one of those life-changing mantras for me. Because when you really break it down, right? If you stop growing as the founder of the business, your business is also going to stop growing. You know, so because of that, I never stopped studying, man. Before I jump into the phone, like literally I was always in the traffic going out for lunch, and this morning I've read 60 pages. I've listened to podcasts for 45 minutes. Every day, that's part of my habit. I will never stop learning because I know that my business is growing, and a different version of my business each year, every six months, needs a different version of me.
I think this is an important message for a lot of people who are starting off their business, is to actually be real with themselves, with their expectations and reality, because most of them want a successful business. They want to be earning $1 million, or even some of them $1 billion company, but day to day they're not operating like it. And it's about growing every single day. And I think studying as Hershey is, learning as much as you can to really be in a position where you deserve to be running a successful company.
I really love the message about, your business will never really outgrow its founder. And really reminds us that we got to be upping our game on a daily basis. Why? It's because we need to have this knowledge, this experience to be able to share with our team to keep expanding. If we don't have that value, then we'll forever be stagnant.
And again, I can't give what I don't have. As a mentor and as a teacher and as a facilitator now in workshops, like I gave myself this massive responsibility because it keeps me accountable. When people come to your workshop to learn something, man, that's just like, okay, I need to learn something new. I need to learn something new every day, so make sure that I don't repeat myself every time I run this workshop. But it's more really that mantra has freaking kept me above ground. It kept me from studying. It kept my ego low. It kept me humble. Because I believe that there's always something that we could learn from other people, whether they're only a janitor or whether they're CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. There's always something to learn. And if you keep that to yourself, that I am a student of life and I'm always going to stay the same. Like I am going to be a student of life until the day that I die. I think that you've already maximized your potential as a human being.
Wow, that's really something profound. We have to let that absorb, sink in a bit, and just really think about that one, because that's really huge. In terms of your routine, it'd be great to really understand what it takes to play at the level that you're playing at. I mean, starting your day, what time do you wake up, by the way? Obviously, you had a late one.
I wake up at 10.
Yep.
The reason for that is, I wake up at 10. It's because I go to sleep at 5. I go to sleep at 4. So it wasn't really about what time to wake up. It's how many hours do I sleep and how many hours I wake up. I used to be so conscious, when you hear motivational faces, you gotta wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get to I think, oh my God, I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I realized that, now they're just numbers, okay? You gotta remember, what have you done in that 8 hours and that 4 hours? I sleep 4 hours. That's all I get, because I can't sleep more than that. I get a freaking headache if I sleep more than 4 hours, man. Trust me. For me, sleep is a disturbance. It's an inconvenience. If my body doesn't need it, I wouldn't go to sleep, because I live and breathe everything that I do, my business, my passion. I want to look back when I'm 50 and say to myself that, damn, I've spent more time being awake and living out to my dream more than I spend most of my time in bed and try and dream about it. I'm very blessed. I'm not lucky because I work so hard for it, but I'm very blessed in a way that I get to live my dream every single day. So part of that is just all habits, man.
Our call to action for this episode is:
What are you consuming to impact and inspire others?
are you ready to take action?
We've created a free action guide for you just for this episode.
Check out escanobrothers.com/005. We appreciate you joining us here at Mastermind Sessions. If you're loving this content, be sure to subscribe.
And if you learned a thing or two and have some valuable feedback for us, leave us a rate and review. We would greatly appreciate it, and we would love to read your feedback.
You were just a part of Mastermind Sessions.